Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about the Sun conjunct the South Node in a natal chart. Now, first off, some of you may remember when I first started my YouTube astrology channel, I did a series on the aspects in the natal chart. They were a little bit concise. Some people may refer to them as snappy. So what I decided to do was make another series on them in which the videos would be a little bit longer and more descriptive. So anyway, first thing up is, well, first off, if you have the Sun conjunct the South Node in a natal chart, there may be an intense focus on, which is the Sun, on your past, which is the South Node. If you have the South Node in Virgo, say, the past may have been tied in to a lot of analysis. Maybe there was some worrisome situations, a lot of diagnosing things, whether it was, it could be vehicles or what have you, or a past in which, you really, would emphasize the details and things, but maybe even, was somewhat worrisome or even being, critical about certain things, or a past that might have had entailed a lot of hard work in industry. Now, the thing about this aspect is that it may also shine the light, so to speak, on the Sun, um, on what you're naturally proficient in, which is the South Node. If you have the South Node in Aquarius as an example, what you're naturally proficient in, it could be things associated with electronics, computers, astronomy, astrology, aviation, meteorology, maybe even, expressing ingenuity and innovation, being innovative, expressing, things that are of a humanitarian and selfless nature. And also, too, there may be, a strong connection between your natural built-in abilities, which is the South Node, and the biological father and dominant males, which is the Sun. And the thing about, the thing with this is that, if you have the South Node, in Aries as an example, those natural built-in abilities may be tied in with leadership prowess and ability. It may be doing something with welding or carpentry, or being able to initiate things. It could be expressing pioneering energy, as some examples. Being able to start new projects and endeavors, being able to stand up, for things, to combat issues when necessary. And the ego may be very strongly connected with that as an example. Now, also, too, another way this aspect may manifest in the natal chart could be where the biological father and dominant males, which is the Sun, uh, may figure, prominently, in terms of going away, which is the South Node, and going away from the negative qualities and helping you deal with them, of the qualities that are connected of the South Node position. Going back to the South Node in Virgo as an example, those negative qualities can be being overly negative, judgmental, critical, cynical, worrisome. Even it could be in some cases like the hypochondriac or germophobic tendencies. I don't know if those words still apply, but you understand what I'm saying. Exaggerated, precautions over, regarding one's health. And another thing too is that if you have this aspect in your natal chart, there may be tremendous attention, which is the Sun, on what you need to leave behind. The South Node is in Taurus, say, and the South Node is connected with what you're needing to leave behind. There may be qualities connected with greed or avarice or materialism, being overly stubborn about things that you don't need to be, just basically staying with, South Node and Taurus, I believe, could also be about staying with things that have basically, run its course, tried and true things that, you may be stubbornly staying with. that you don't need to. As some examples, being overly persistent, with things that you don't need to be, overly persistent or tenacious with. So another thing too is that, as far as physically, the physical stature may be affected to some degree with this aspect because, the sun has a connection with the physical body. The south node is what we're going away from. The person may be, smaller in stature than otherwise indicated in their natal chart, and there may be diminished or less vitality because the sun has a connection with our vitality and energy. And again, the south node is associated with less and what we are going away from. That could also be, in matters, other matters connected or things related to the sun, whether it could be the children, biological father, dominant males in one's life, people in authority. At some point in time, it may be such where you're needing to leave behind, those people to some degree, or the connection may be less or diminished with those people because of this aspect. And another thing too about the sun conjunct the south node in the natal chart, it could also be expressed in having that intense, that tremendous want, which is the sun, to stay in one's comfort zone, which is the south node. The south node is in Gemini. It could be, things, the comfort zone may be tied into things of a superficial nature, just a lot of, quick, concise communications, having, more like a real flexible, kind of, belief system. It could be, doing many, having a variety of things going on in one's life. But, the thing is with the south node in Gemini, it could be about where one may be dissipating oneself through lack of an integrating purpose. So it is something, though it could be a comfort zone, what one feels, it's still something that one would need to leave behind at some point in time. The south node is generally, emphasized more for till about age 30, 35 or so, and then the north node is what we people tend to focus on at that around 30, 35 years old. Now another thing too is that if you believe in previous incarnations, this aspect can indicate really about where the person may have shined, which is the sun, in a previous incarnation, which is the south node, if you believe in that. Now, if the let's say if the sun is in Capricorn, the person may have shined in something business related, or career in general, something with politics or the government, dentistry, accounting, information technology, a position of authority, something with construction or architecture as some examples. And the thing is, there may be a need to get away from, which is the south node, the negative qualities that are associated with the basic fundamental character of the person, which is the sun. If the sun is in the zodiac sign Cancer, as an example, it could be about being, overly sensitive to criticism and ridicule, being overly clingy or dependent, overly emotional regarding matters, being too introverted, as some, examples can, as far or being overly moody and temperamental as well, which would be some examples of the negative qualities of the zodiac sign Cancer. Now, another way this aspect may be expressed in the natal chart, it could be where one is very conscious and cognizant, which is the sun, of the overdeveloped and redundant qualities of the south node. So let's say if the south node is in Virgo, going to that example again, it could be where one maybe over analyzing things. It could be the person in astrology that wants to look at the Dwad within the Dwad, has some examples. If the south node is in Libra, as another example, it could be where one may constantly have that need to want to compromise or reconcile, being overly, balanced, with things, having, giving this person exactly 8 ounces of something, and then the 8 ounces of, Coca-Cola or Dr. Pepper to the other person as well. It's something where, there could be a need to be overly, too balanced, things maybe to a fault in some cases. But anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, Edwin Learnard saying, stay well.